Good morning. It's Saturday morning and I am heading up to the house, I should say. Josh is already up there. He got up bright and early. He is normally a morning person. I'm normally the one that gets up early. And he was out the door by 8 a.m. And it's about 10 a.m. now and I'm just getting out the door. So what I'm doing now is I'm packing up some food that we made together, you and I. We made some really, really yummy pasta salad that's got protein and veggies and tortellini. So it's kind of like a whole meal. So I'm gonna bring that. I'm also gonna bring some Mexican rice that I made and some corn and black bean salsa / salad. A lot of people refer to it as cowboy caviar. It's so delicious. I'm just trying to bring a myriad of different things. Some of it might come back down, I don't know. I don't think I have any cheese up there, so we're gonna bring a little bit of cheese. I also made some, what is this called? Tzatziki sauce. I just made it in the yogurt container, and that is so delicious that I've been putting on my kind of like burrito bowls that we're gonna make with the rice. We also made together some blueberry scones, some breakfast cookies, so we're gonna bring those. Whether those are gonna be snacks or what, I don't know. And now we have a beautiful lunch. It's going to be a glorious, glorious weekend. It's been in the high 80s and it's only gonna be like 75 today, so it's gonna be awesome. You see all that garlic we harvested together the other day? Super excited about that. I was thinking on the way up there, because I have to run errands. Well, not errands, but I have to go to the dump to take this stuff to the dump. I thought, you know what? Let's run to the paint store and look at paint, because I'm not happy really with any of the colors that we have chosen. I set my phone down for 1 second to grab a couple more things out of the house, and I'd already put the lunch bag in here, put the dogs in here. These two stinkers. They look so cute and innocent. Did you do it? Did you do it? You look a little suspicious to me, Orbit. Let's see if I can show you what they did. I think you got caught red-handed there, sir. Red-handed. You're in big trouble. Did you do it, Orbit? Gotta love them anyway. Hey, they're taking advantage of a prime opportunity. If I were them, I probably would do the same thing. But as I was saying about the colors, I'm not 100% sold on the colors that we have picked out and put on the walls. I think some of them are too blue and some of them are too green. And when I posted that video asking about a neutral kind of gray color or taupe or tan, not tan, taupe color, a lot of you, I mean a lot, recommended agreeable gray. And so I thought, you know what? Let's go ahead and go get a sample of that and test it out on the walls. We do have a date scheduled for the painters to come. We did decide to go ahead and have some painters because it's gonna take them an entire week to do it professional. So if it was gonna take them a week, it would take us goodness knows how long. And so let's go get a couple more paint samples today and see if we can find a color that we just fall in love with and we're completely sold on. So this is the one I came in here for, and it does look a little bit blue to me, but the way you can kind of tell what the gray undertones are is if you go all the way down and you look at the bottom one. A new gray is what we have on the walls right now, is one of the 4 colors, and I feel like it looks a little green. And when you look at this color, that's why, because this has got obviously the most amount of color in it as opposed to this one, and it definitely has a green undertone to this kind of like brown color. We also have functional and requisite gray. These are what we had in our first house, and I think these are pulling a little too purple for me. They don't look purple here, or when I come down and grab this one and bring it up here. This is supposed to be one of the warmer grays because it does have kind of like a brown undertone, but in the house it's pulling purple. And you can kind of see like this one definitely is going to pull. It's going to be a redder gray. This one's going to be a bluer gray, bluer gray. Gray is the absolute #1 hardest color to choose because it can pull all these different colors, and I really want something a little bit warmer. So I follow a DIYer on Instagram, and she just painted some things in her house accessible beige. And so I already grabbed the last sample. They're mixing up my paint colors right now. And then when I was down here looking at these different beiges, I thought I would do a 180, grab the accessible beige. I kind of like this shiitake, and I grabbed one more, but I don't remember what it was. I'll show you when we get up to the house. But if you go down here, you can kind of see what the main undertones are. And this one is kind of like a gray. It's kind of like a taupey gray. So shiitake might be kind of what we're wanting. If this was just one color in one room, I would not be so stressed about it. Or I'm not stressed, but particular about making sure we get the right color. But because we're gonna pay someone to paint the entire house this color, I do want to make sure that I take the time to choose the correct color. Checking on them to make sure they're not eating cheese, and they're not. They're just staring at me. Those little stinkers. I did call Josh. He doesn't need anything from the hardware store, so that's a win. That's always nice when we don't have to run to the hardware store. So now we're gonna go to the dump the goods, and then head up to the new house. And I have to say, I'm a little excited about these colors. I have been back to the paint store probably 3 times and just stared at paint and not been able to like make a decision on which one I want to get samples. And so I'm pretty excited. We have 4 that we get to test out. It is about a 20-minute drive to the dump. So what I'm gonna do is show you, we were up there the other day. We made some dinner up there, and we had some progress made on the outside area and a couple other things. So I'm gonna take you back in time to when we were up there over the week, and we'll be back when we get to the dump. We are heading up to the new house to meet an electrician at between 11 and noon. I went ahead and scheduled an electrician to come out to talk about that pony wall and rewiring those switches that are on that pony wall. We already had an appointment with the landscaper at 3 o'clock today, so I wanted to try to maximize going up there and having more than one appointment. I got here the perfect time. The electrician pulled up the same time that I got here. And this is that wall that we are about 90% sure that this wall is going, even though there's no flooring under this wall, and we're gonna have to figure out a way to patch it. What we need done by the electrician is this light switch controls these 3 recessed lights, and this light switch controls these 3 lights. So we need those rewired, and we can have this switch just added on to that one, and we can have this switch just added on to this one. And then we're gonna take one of the outlets and put it in the floor in case we want to be able to, have a lamp or something plugged in the middle of the room. And then we'd be able to take this wall down, which will open it up a ton from the front door into the main living and out to the view beyond. The other thing we're having them bid is to replace all of these outlets. We already have one bid, and we don't know if it's a high or low bid, and so we want to have someone else come out and see the cost of replacing all of these beige outlets to white, and then having the knobs, I don't know what these are called, the switches, to be the flat white ones that just toggle back and forth. That is something that Josh knows how to do. He's replaced many of them in our last couple homes. And so we now are also considering doing it ourselves. And I happen to follow a DIYer on Instagram, and she just showed how to replace one of the outlets. And it was so easy looking. There's just 3 little wires. And so I told Josh, or Josh and I were talking about, depending on what the bid comes back and what the cost is, we could probably just do it ourselves. And I think that might be the way we're leaning. We're not going to rewire. So that is an update on that, on what's going on with all that. And now what I need to do, because that didn't take very long. That took about 35 minutes. I got myself a little lunch, and I'm going to sit down and enjoy this. And then I've got some computer work. I brought up my computer so that I can edit a video, because I have the landscaper coming. Come on. At 3 o'clock. I'm gonna get my computer out, and I'm gonna eat my lunch, and this is gonna be my office today. Just got a bunch of computer work done. Josh just texted me and said he's on the way up here to meet the landscaper. And I wanted to say a few things about why we are having a landscaper come out here. The biggest thing is this property is so much bigger than anything Josh and I have ever owned or consider owning or anything like that. And quite a few of the things that I want to put in are going to be very permanent things, like fruit trees. I want to put a vineyard. I want to put both table grapes and wine grapes. I want to put a greenhouse, a garden. And a lot of these things are very permanent. You know, once you put them there, you want them to establish really good roots. And a lot of the work Josh and I are going to do ourselves. But what I need is expert help. I am not an expert gardener. I am not someone who just inherently necessarily knows a lot about those types of things and where the best placement for long term will be. You don't want to plant a fruit tree and then 2 years or 3 years down the road decide that was probably not the best place for that fruit tree. So what I need expert help in is helping me know where I should put things. At our last house, I put in that big garden, but it was the only place to put it. There was no other option, so that's where we put it. Here, there are so many different options, and the possibilities are so vast, it seems overwhelming for that responsibility to be on our shoulders. And so we thought it would be wise to have an expert come and help us learn or tell us where things should go. Whether we take all that advice in, that's then our decision, but to at least get some expert advice. And so that is why we are having a landscaper, a professional, someone who, it's actually the person who did my parents' house. So if you've seen my parents' backyard, I've showed little glimpses of it when I'm working with my mom. He does an excellent job. And things like the greenhouse and the garden and a lot of that stuff, like I said, we're going to do, and we're going to have fun building it and doing it. But it's just knowing where and having confidence that where we put that is somewhere we want that to be for long term. Another aspect is the property is very sloped, and we're going to have to do quite a bit of terracing work and putting in, I don't know if we're going to do like swales, terraces, what exactly we're going to do to kind of level out some of that hill in order to garden on it. And that's something Josh and I need help with as well, is knowing how to do that, or what we should do and what grade we should build those swales or terraces or whatever it might be. This is somewhere we want to be long term, and that's why I just want to make sure that we're being very wise and intentional. I think that's the best word, very intentional about where things go. There are already fruit trees on this property, and I'm really grateful for that because hopefully we'll be getting a harvest from those this year, but there are a lot more things I want to plant. I want to plant more nut trees. I want to do some peach trees and cherry trees and nectarines, and there are already plums, but I want to do, what are those little orange ones called? What are those little orange fruits called? Not nectarines, not peaches, not plums. Those little fruits are called apricots. I don't know why that just invaded me so much, but I hope that made sense, that I just want to be intentional because we are going to be here long term. We might get help with some of it, like doing the terrace work, but the irrigation is something Josh loves doing. Quiet, boys, please. They want to go outside. They love coming up here. And I am down here because while I'm waiting for Josh to come up, I want to get a couple things ready for dinner. We need some hot sauce because I don't have any hot sauce in the fridge. And I also want to we're doing a little grocery shopping while we're down here. This is, I call it salsa juice, but when I make my own homemade salsa, then I strain off some of the juice so that I can have a thicker salsa and I don't have to cook it down as long, so that it can be a fresher tasting salsa. And this is so good. It has all the salsa flavors. It's got the lemon juice, the peppers, the onions, and I like to cook my rice with that. So we're gonna bring up some hot sauce and some of that tomato salsa juice upstairs, and we're gonna get dinner going. So I just added my rice and my salsa juice, and now I'm gonna add just a little bit of garlic salt just to add a little bit more flavor. And then I'm gonna turn my rice cooker on. And now we have dinner started. We're having tacos tonight. Or fajitas. I brought up the fajita freezer meal. It's been thawing overnight in the refrigerator. We're not quite ready to cook it because it's only 2:46 right now. I want to get my rice going, and then I brought up all the fixings for that so that Josh and I can enjoy dinner up here. To go along with dinner, I have some cojita cheese here. And I think since I'm still waiting for Josh to get up here, I might as well get that prepped for dinner. It's kind of like a Mexican version of a feta cheese. It's a soft, crumbly cheese. You can get it pre-crumbled, but I bought it in a block this time. It's so good. It's salty and creamy and crumbly. And you can see it kind of has the texture once you break it up, like feta. So I'm just gonna break all this up, and this is gonna be part of our delicious dinner tonight. The landscaper just left, and let me tell you, even if all we get from him is a master plan, because that's phase one, is we pay for him to create a master plan, and we work together and have a master plan, and we're gonna have like phase one, phase two, phase three. Even if we do all the work, I think that is gonna be money that is well spent time and time again, because just some of the ideas and the thoughts. You're fine. Josh is here, and he's got to get some work done before he gets to work on the house. So he's bringing in one of our camp chairs, and he's going to work in the bedroom on a camp chair. Do you need me to bring you a table or anything?
I'm good.
You're good? Okay. Okay. And what was I saying? So that money is going to be well spent just to have a master plan and to know this is what we want to do, maybe year 1, year 2, year 3, because we're going to be here a long time. And there were things that he brought up in that meeting that were things that I would not have even thought about, like where we were thinking of putting the greenhouse in that one flat spot. Well, maybe you don't want to put it right where I was thinking, because then if you're in the bedroom, you're going to be just staring at the top of the greenhouse. So maybe you want to angle it a little bit so it doesn't obstruct the view. And there was like so many different things just about like making pathways so that we can get from one area to the other. And I don't know, there was just like probably 4 or 5 like aha moments, like, oh my goodness, like I would not have thought of that, and I'm so grateful you're here and you're going to be able to help us through this process, because I just am so grateful that this is where we get to be and this is where we get to call home, and I want to make sure that we're being a good steward of this land. And with all that said, and my dishwasher going, I'm gonna get dinner going. I'm gonna get our fajitas cooking in the oven just because it's a lot easier, and I don't even have a pan up here if I wanted to cook these on the stove anyway. So this is my fajitas. There's peppers and onions and chicken and all the seasonings. I pour everything out into this 9x13. I'm gonna put it into a 400-degree oven. We're gonna let this cook, probably take about 35-40 minutes. I'll show you, I'm gonna stir it between, and this is just one of the easiest ways to cook fajitas. And it's cooking up beautifully. I'm gonna just stir it up a little bit. I do want it nice and brown like that, because that's what's gonna give you the good flavor. And then I'm gonna let it go for, I don't know, a few more minutes. Get it nice and browned again on the other side. Here's our dinner. We have our fajitas. We've got our peppers and onions in here. Josh can either choose to have it on a flour or corn tortillas. Lettuce from the garden. I made this mango salsa up the other morning. I bought these mangoes to make some marinades for the freezer cooking, and I forgot I had them, so they needed to be used up. So this is just mango, red onion, and lemon juice, salt, and garlic powder. Sour cream, homemade hot sauce, our cojita cheese, cowboy candy, and our beautiful Spanish rice. And that is dinner. Couldn't be easier. We're gonna sit down outside, enjoy this, and then we are gonna get to work, working on trim. Story of our life right now. Accessible beige. So because I know these colors really well, I did not mark what they are, but these ones I am gonna mark what they are. We're gonna do the same thing. I painted these swatches in 4 different areas of the house because paint will definitely show up different in different lighting in different rooms. So I want to make sure that we do that same thing here. Okay, so let's get this on the wall. Kind of excited. Okay, so this is definitely a taupey color. Definitely different than gray. So, wait, this is accessible beige, yeah. So I was telling Josh when I came up here, I might not like these at all, but it doesn't hurt to try a couple different things so we know that the one we go with is the one we really want. If we have all gray and no taupes, then maybe we will think later, maybe we should have done a taupe, but now we can know for sure that we don't want a taupe. Kind of like that. I will do 2 coats of everything, just so we can make sure we get a true sample. What do you think? Josh is staring.
I love it.
You don't like it at all, do you?
Well, we need to see what it looks like when it's dry.
And with 2 coats.
Yeah.
It's definitely lighter. I don't have my heart set on any of these colors, so I will not be offended whatsoever. I want him to give me his honest opinion of these colors. I'm gonna go in all the rooms and paint this color in all the spots so that I don't have to wash my brush out. And for some reason, in this haul, the colors show up so different. And so, oh yeah, that looks a lot darker in here. I think these walls are only primed. I don't think these walls in this haul were ever actually painted with actual paint. Oh, I like this color in here a lot. Oh my goodness. The lid's been dripping this whole time. Look at this mess I made. I'm really good at making messes, but I do know how to clean them up. And you can clean up paint, no problem, if it's, shoot. The only part I worry about is the paint that's in the crack. Josh is looking up the white color that we're doing for the trim, because I think I might paint a piece of trim and hold it up against these just so we have a better idea of what we're working with, because these walls are, you know, painted kind of a yellow color. Now I'm thinking this one is too taupe. This one is called Balanced Beige. So we'll see. Put it up there. Gotta put the name on here. I never took myself for a beige person, and I think this is probably not going to be a winner. I think it's going to be a little too... Actually, I don't hate it. Josh, do you know?
Who knows what it looks like?
What?
Who knows what it actually looks like?
I know.
I like it better than the yellow behind it.
Me too. Not too bad. Both of them clearly need another coat, but this is definitely a warmer color than some of those grays we've been working with. Over there. The next color is called Shiitake, and it is a little bit of a lighter color than the one we just did. I feel a little bit like we're on Trading Spaces. Did any of you all watch Trading Spaces back in the, I don't even know when that was out, late 90s, early 2000s? We used to watch that every year when we would go on vacation as a family, and we loved it. Well, I like that color too. I don't know if this is making this easier or harder, because I kind of want that feeling of this house to be really cozy and comfortable and just somewhere that you want to spend time. So that's kind of why now I'm kind of leaning toward these taupe ones. I like this, the lightness of this one. We are making great progress. I'm stepping on these blinds. This one is the agreeable gray. So this is the one that I went into the paint store. Oh yeah, that's a very warm gray color. Wanting to get. This is definitely a lighter color. Oh wow, that's bright. Brighter than I was expecting. It's nice and bright though. I don't know if I want bright. I don't know what I want. Let's see. Ooh, drip. And here it definitely looks more gray. We have our 4 new colors here. We definitely need them to dry completely, put one more coat on before we know which one we like. And Josh is hungry, so we're gonna go ahead and get some lunch made up, and we're gonna sit down and enjoy a nice lunch. Let me show you how I'm gonna throw this together. We cut off the piece of cheese that those Steakers decided to snack on, and I don't have a box grater here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and cut it up into little chunks. To make our lunch today, we're gonna repurpose some leftovers and create a new dish out of them. We were up here the other day, and I made tacos with some Mexican rice. So I wanna make some burrito bowls with it out of the, I love when that sound happens because it means progress is being made. But I want to make some burrito bowls out of this leftover Mexican rice with what we prepped 2 days ago for this weekend's lunches. This is the cowboy caviar that we made. It has rice, corns, onions, peppers, jalapenos, and we're going to serve this on top of our rice. And I made a yummy vinaigrette to go on it, so it's got so much flavor. Corn, red onion, just delicious. And then this is the tzatziki sauce that I made. So you can see all the herbs and cucumbers. We'll just put a dollop of that on each one. It's so fresh, perfect for this time of year with all the fresh summer produce coming in. Lunch was wonderful, and I did go ahead and get a second coat on all these colors. They do need to dry. So while those are drying, I'm gonna start doing another project. The project I'm gonna get going on now while we wait for that paint to dry is I'm gonna start filling in all the nail holes and the caulking in this room. Let me show you what Josh has done. This room is almost done. It's looking really good. This corner up here was super, super complicated. I'll show you how Josh put that corner in there because those 2 top pieces fit together, and that took a long time to figure out, and I think he did a fantastic job there. And he has all the window trim and all the base trim in. This piece right here, that piece was cracked between these 2 windows. Same thing on this one, so he's gonna have to purchase that to replace that one, so no big deal. I can get going on filling in the nail holes. And while I'm doing that, he's gonna finish this window here, which this is just gonna be 1x3s around it. He's not gonna do the fancy piece on the top on this one, and same with this one, so that shouldn't take super long time. So this is what he's putting.
Or not, I don't know, I'm just seeing, I think it's too thin. Probably just do 1x4.
Boys are wrestling.
Yeah, I'm gonna do 1x4.
Yeah, 1x4 will look good.
This is 1x3.
Perfect. This is why we have 2 dogs, not just one. Our family thought we were crazy when we decided to get our second dog because our first one was a little crazy, and it's helped so much. They are mini Australian Shepherds, and they are almost 7 years old. I have my podcast in, and it's time to get to work. I did want to mention one thing. I know I say this wrong, but I don't want to get demonetized by saying it the correct way now that I know the correct way. That's kind of a joke, but anyway, I know I say it wrong. But I wanted to show you one trick. There is this little metal piece on the gun itself, and this has been sitting, I haven't done any of this since last weekend, so there's a dry piece that's blocking that. So what this little metal piece does is you can stick it down in there, and that's going to give you a nice new opening that you can then, piece of paper towel. Perfect. Let's get to work.
I could use a step ladder. Maybe a step ladder. For sure. I think there's a bunch of stuff up there.
Look how good that looks. We decided to go ahead and do the actual trim around the entire window. And he's gonna do the same thing to this window here. I don't remember why we were gonna do just 4x4s or 1x4s around it and not the actual trim. Do you know why we were gonna do that?
I didn't hear what you said.
Why we were gonna do just the 1x4s around these windows, not the actual trim?
Because there's a protuberance.
Oh, that's right.
So, because this is the outside of an exterior window, so
That's
it
right.
protrudes a bit. But it ends up not being that awkward, I think.
Normally, the window would be flush with the drywall, and there's probably about, I don't know, that's probably an inch
Yeah,
or so.
sure.
And I forgot that's why we were gonna do that. But when you look at this trim with this little, like, protruding piece, it looks really good. You don't even notice it. And when I go and do the finish work on it, I'm stepping all over stuff.
Yeah. Careful. You're gonna twist an ankle.
Caulk it, it'll look fine.
Yeah, once we caulk it up.
It'll look great.
I need to put a 1x4
Yeah, right there.
in between, but it needs to be cut down just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I hate
Using
cutting down
on
or
table saw.
ripping down boards. I hate it.
Oh, makes too much dust.
Yeah. But we'll get it done.
Yeah, we'll get it done. Are you working on this window over here?
Yep. Putting
Nice.
off the ripping as long as I can. So.
Josh and I spent probably 20 minutes talking about all these colors. I may have muddied the waters a little bit. I don't know. But there is a little bit of clarity, so that's good. Let me walk you through what we decided and kind of how we came up to that decision. Do we have a final decision? Probably not, but I think we've ruled things out. All right, this is the conclusion or what we've come up with, and this is how we came up with that. We took this white painted board. It's not the actual white that is going to be the white on the trim, but it's closer to white that's going to be on the trim than these yellow walls. And we did this in the dining room, the bedroom, and in the hall. We took this whiteboard and we stuck it between two of the colors so we could try to get a better idea of what the actual color looks like. And this is functional gray, requisite gray. I think those are a little too purple for us. I really, like I was saying earlier, wanted to feel warm and inviting. This was my favorite color out of these four originally, and this was my second. This is, I have to look it up again. And I just looked to Mega Grayish, and we think it's a little too dark.
It's Mega Grayish?
Mega Grayish.
You don't like it? I thought that was another going.
No, this is the one, a new gray.
Oh, a new gray.
Yeah.
It is Mega Grayish?
This one is Mega Grayish.
Grayish?
Yeah, it's not gray, it's grayish.
It's funky.
So this is Mega Grayish, and we think this one's a little too dark. I don't know if they're necessarily showing up for you the way they're showing up for me. And this was our top favorite, my top favorite, originally out of these four. And then we put more on the walls. Accessible beige is a little bit too light for us. Oh. I'm having trouble with my words. Okay, accessible beige. I'm having trouble with my words, and Josh is making fun of me a little bit.
No.
Yes, but that's okay. Is a little too light for us, and agreeable gray is a little too bright for us. I don't want something so bright. We have plenty of sunlight in this house. That's not a problem. We have 7 skylights, multiple windows. I want something a little bit more warm and a little bit more dark on the walls. So these two we ruled out. And then here we have balanced beige is too brown. It looks very, very brown in person, and I don't necessarily want brown walls. And it might be a little too close to the flooring color to wash everything out and not have enough contrast between the flooring and the walls. And I like the shiitake. Josh isn't a big fan of the shiitake, and so that's fine with me. This is a little bit greener. So out of all these colors, we are back to my favorite one, which is a new gray. The one thing is that I am still the biggest fan of this color, and Josh originally was more of a fan of these colors, the requisite and functional, but by putting these other ones on the wall, he now is the biggest fan of this one, and he came up to that conclusion all on his own. And so no decision has been made yet. If you guys have more recommendations, I'm not opposed to going and getting more samples, but I think that this is going to be the color in the majority of the house. I say that now, but we'll see. Now that we have that discussed, I'm going to get back to work on finishing out that sunroom. After I got off with you, I said I was going to get back to work, and I'm not. I'm tired going home. And Orbit and Tipper were going with me. We're probably going to watch some TV and relax. Josh is working away. He's awesome. He's working on his Saturday. He's going to be here probably for a few more hours, and then he'll come home and we'll eat dinner down here. I did pack up the pasta salad we made together, and we'll probably have that for dinner later tonight. Might be a late night for him, I don't know. But it's time for me and the boys to go home.